One metric I encounter more and more in the past, which is overlooked because it's hard to measure, is incrementality.
I've always said it already, incrementality. It's important because you need to be able to know that ad, what actually truly it did drive in terms of revenue returns for you.
And definitely competitive spend is the overlooked metric that I'd say is every marketer should be sort of paying more attention to.
I think I stated it before. I think we're moving from clicks into a world of impression share. So I think share of voice is a really important key metric.
Coming from a very much a technical and engineering background, a metric that is often overlooked to me is not per se a marketing metric, but it's what I would call time to insights. Time to insights basically refers to the speed at which your data is converted into actionable knowledge and then is actually used to, drive or improve your marketing strategies, your decisions.
I don't know how overlooked or how granular marketers are going into this, but I think the number one KPI for marketing should be MQL to closed won conversion. I actually also think that there's metrics around the dark funnel that are maybe not really very common right now or a little overlooked. So if you're not familiar with the dark funnel, basically it's this whole idea that marketing is everywhere and anywhere.
In the world of the fast-paced social sphere that we have and the technology changes and cultural shifts, I think cultural resonance is really important.
Repeat business as opposed to, let's say, net promoter score. How often are you getting repeat business? The other one is how often are you really getting referrals? So
most overlooked metric, it's the share of voice as for anyone else, but lately is the share of voice on AI searches and your brand term evolution in Search Console.
Incremental reach, for example. Let's say I want to run a connected TV campaign, and to understand if I spend that amount of money in parallel to my linear TV campaign, how much incremental reach would that create?
Would a consumer already have bought that product or would have bought that product without you buying that impression? And really understanding that. Don't just rely on, last touch point, attribution. It's not enough in this world.
We've talked a lot about what the brand or the client or the company or whichever way you want to look at it has themselves. They have the marketing, they have the KPIs. What we generally sort of forget to talk about is, well, what's going on with our competition? How much have they spent in marketing? Where are they spending it? And those kind of pieces.
So you have to look outside your first party data and also know what your competitors are doing. I think impression share is a really important, good way to achieve this.
If all marketeers across all brands and all holdcos have access to the same data and the same technology, we all focus on clicks and impressions and conversions, and then what actually matters is how quickly we can leverage that data to personalize and customize your strategy and execution. And that's again what where AI comes in. Like
a lot of marketing teams are very focused on having really big numbers when it comes to leads and MQLs, and there's this almost a false sense of achievement with the higher number of MQLs or leads. But at the end of the day, you can have a much smaller number of leads and MQLs with a much higher qualification and get to a much further place when it comes to performance. And so for me, one of the biggest pieces around dark funnel is being able to understand social interactions and how those perform. So I'm talking about not just somebody replied to me on LinkedIn. I'm talking about who is interacting with your brand or with the main stakeholders of your company on LinkedIn, on whatever other social media tool is available out there.
Cultural resonance, cultural relevance, these are the types of things, because I think we get quite stuck into measuring what's the awareness, what's the consideration, and that we do that quite obsessively, I think. And actually, I think everyone's doing that, right? So you're not finding any differentiation or any kind of strategic advantage.
Many times you'll say on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you refer? If you say 10, how many times did you refer? So to me, I think we have to get more granular.
If you see that your brand is growing over time, yes, in Search Console, that should be a good health sign for your business in general, because that means that regardless how people find you, they find you. And you grow steadily and nicely.
As we are evolving into a zero-click world, you need to know whether the market is growing or whether you are growing as opposed to the market. That's a big question that needs to be answered.
It's really difficult to track, how a certain campaign, it potentially impacted that a lead would eventually come into your funnel at some point.
I haven't seen that many businesses are paying attention to how their brand term searches are evolving, and I think it's really cool to have a look at this.
And in a sort of MMM model, how competitive you need to be in the marketplace can really sort of have an impact on the value you get returned from your marketing. When you've generally got sort of situations of economic uncertainty, I'm putting no commentary on top of that at the moment, but when that kind of thing is happening, you can often find that you'll see sort of pullbacks in spending, and those can be huge opportunities to be the only voice in a vertical or a space to really sort of get home your message. So being able to make use and leverage that kind of knowledge is huge.
A typical market mix model or typical dashboard will show you maybe that your campaigns didn't perform well on platform A, or that you should shift budget from platform A to platform B. What it doesn't easily or automatically tell you is why that is, right? How does this now correlate to my audience definition? How does it correlate to macroeconomic environment, to things that are changing? So like those insights and then the adaptability, being able to act on that quickly is becoming so crucial.
Things like cultural relevance might seem a bit fluffy. Actually, you can quantify it. So there's lots of signals out there. So you've got things like share of conversation, you've got things like resonance with communities, you've got earned advocacy, and actually a big part of how we do that and how we derive that, I think you've got things like trust, which is really important. Understanding how you're shifting people's opinions is again really important. I think if you can track that stuff in the short term and the longer term, it gives us quite hard KPIs that are tied to commercial outcomes, which I think now is more important than ever.